home she had been planning to spend the rest of her life, but now those dreams were in tatters. Her head was spinning as she tried to make sense of what had happened, her thoughts a swirling mix of anger, disappointment, sadness, and bewilderment. How could he? A grey-haired lady with a poodle on a lead came walking towards her, caught sight of the expression on her face, and slowed down as she approached. "Are you all right, dear?" With a Herculean effort, Louise took another big breath and tried to sound normal. "I'm fine, thanks. Just thinking." "Well, if you're sure." "It's okay. Thanks." But of course it wasn't. She called a cab and phoned her mum from the back seat. As the taxi headed north across the Thames, she gave her mother a brief account of what had just happened, mildly surprised to manage it without bursting into tears. Her mother was, understandably, outraged. "How could he do something like that? And your father and I thought that things were serious between the two of you." "So did I, Mum, but clearly Tommy didn't." Her voice almost cracked, but she held firm. The half-hour ride passed in a blur, and as she paid the driver outside her parents' house, he caught her eye. "It's no business of mine, but for my money you're better off without him." She even managed a glimmer of a smile in return, although all she could feel was emptiness deep inside. "I think you're right. Thanks." A minute later, she was sitting on the sofa with a mug of hot chocolate, stroking Mog the cat with her free hand, while doing her best to describe to her sympathetic parents how she felt. It wasn't easy. Finally, at well past midnight, she went to bed, but spent much of the night wide awake, eyes staring sightlessly into the dark, wondering where it had all gone wrong. Was she the problem? Had she not been loving enough, or considerate enough, or understanding enough? Of course, it was likely, maybe even very likely, that her job had been part of the problem. She had been away so much, he had got bored and had found himself a new plaything. Not that this could justify his infidelity, she reminded herself. She had missed him too, but she would never have dreamt of hooking up with some random man. No, whatever contributing factors there might have been from her side, the blame here lay squarely on Tommy's shoulders. When she woke up next morning and turned her phone back on, she had deliberately switched it off last night, she found she had a dozen unanswered calls and a stream of messages from Tommy. After taking a long, cleansing shower, she sat in the kitchen with a mug of tea and read her way through them. They all ran along similar lines. He was sorry. It had been an awful thing to do. He hadn't meant to hurt her, and he hoped she would let him explain and forgive him. This was something else she had been turning over and over in her head overnight, and the answer was now quite clear and irreversible. Tommy and she were history. There was no way she would ever be able to trust him again after what had happened. She talked it through with her mum, who backed her to the hilt. What he had done had been beyond the pale. She would be far better off without him. She sat there and composed a text message to him. She didn't waste words. "We're finished, Tommy. Forever. We both know I'll never be able to trust you again. I'll come over with Dad and Ben this afternoon to pick up my stuff. I don't want to see you. Please go somewhere, anywhere, but stay away. We'll be there at 2 and out by 5. Don't try to contact me. I never want to see you or hear from you again." At 2 o'clock, she and her brother Ben drove over to the flat, closely followed by her father in his car, and she was relieved to find the place empty. Ben, on the other hand, looked positively disappointed. When he had heard what had happened, he had gone ballistic, and Louise was glad there wasn't going to be a confrontation.